Hey everybody, it's Nicole Byer here with some hot takes from Wayfair. A cozy corduroy sectional from Wayfair? Yeah, that's a hot take. Go on and add it to your cart and take it. A pink glam nightstand from Wayfair? Scalding hot take. Take it before I do. A mid-century modern cabinet from Wayfair that doubles as a wine bar? Do I have to say it? It's a hot take. Get it at Wayfair.com and enjoy that free shipping too.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey everybody, I'm Mikey Andersen, and this is Fantasy Avenue, where each week we talk about everything you need to know in the world of fantasy football. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Avenue. I'm Mikey Andersen. It's a big day. It was a good week of fantasy football. A good week of football. Hope everybody had a fun week without me. I'm sure that I know I did. Now it's time to get back on the fantasy football grind. Not a great football week for me, right? And not a great start to the podcast, honestly. Just had to restart my audio after about 3 minutes of had a pretty funny intro going there. Fortunately, I have a coat that is that material, that's here. I'm going to hold it by the mic. Yeah, that sound? Yep, that's what was happening in my entire intro. Not cool. So I had to restart. That's not fun. And the latch on the door is messed up. My headphones could not connect to the speaker. I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I got some freaking fancy National Honor Society induction thing I got to go to in like an hour. I got to go home and eat before then, so I got stuff on my plate. Got a hard start to the episode, honestly. Audio at least sounds fine for once in my life with this new mic setup. At least we have some good audio, so that makes me happy. And that's kind of all we got, right? I mean, sometimes the world gives you. I don't even want to go with the lemonade route. That's too cliche. Sometimes the world gives you a poor picture frame, right? That's kind of my new. I'm looking around this room and I'm thinking, what can I make as an analogy right now? I'm thinking a poor picture frame. Sometimes the world gives you a frame that no matter how much you adjust it, even if you use a level, you get one of those apps on your phone and you use a real life level, like it's the good old days, you can't get the picture exactly straight, no matter what. It's a good looking picture. It's a good looking frame, but it won't straight, and for some reason, they just don't go together, It's a calm photo. It's a nice mahogany frame. And yet when you put the photo in, not only can it not straighten, but it doesn't look good. Sometimes the world gives you a picture frame that just doesn't work out quite exactly. That's kind of how today's been, how this week of football was for me. Obviously, I'm a Bronco fan. Tough loss to the Texans. We beat ourselves, unfortunately. Russ, threw 3 picks, but hey, they were unlucky. I don't want to go in too far into my bias, but hey, I'm biased. We should have won that game. In terms of the college world, I'm a big fan of Oregon and of MSU. Oregon lost another heartbreaker to Washington, so we're just certified like pretty balls. Gonna have to go play Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl, so that's gonna be. We're gonna slaughter Liberty. There's no one is gonna be liberated on that game day. It's gonna be oppressive. There will be no liberty for that team. It's gonna be like similar to how the colonies were treated under King George. It's that kind of vibe I'm getting. And then the MSU Bobcats missed on a blocked PAT to get eliminated from the playoffs in a game that we should have won. That's the vibe. That's kind of how it's been. It was a good week of football, though. There were some entertaining games. The 49ers beating the Eagles. Legit taking over probably the top spot in the NFL in terms of team to beat. I don't really know. The Cowboys maybe, but the Cowboys defense struggled. Didn't look that good. I would say in terms of just overall, the Eagles were, I believe, the best team in the NFL going in this week, and the 49ers have just passed them. Not quite as consistent up to this point as the Eagles, but at the same time, they beat them, so, that's game over. Cowboys, 49ers, what is this, the 80s? Come on. 1992? Is that what year we're in? No, we're in 2023. Let's get back to the current season where the Chiefs dominate. Just kidding. I do not want that. That is the worst case scenario. Get them out of my life. But anyway, it's just been a lot of L's. It's been a lot of L's. It was unfortunate. It was a hard bye week for my fantasy teams. I can't lie to you. Had a lot of players on bye. Josh Allen has been my Lord and Savior in the Dynasty League this year. He was on bye, and Travis Kelce struggled, and Austin Eckler struggled. It was the Dynasty League was tough for me this week. My players, it's one of probably my main league in terms of focus because it's a pay league. I want some moolah at the end of the line. If you guys know, I do not have very much moolah. But I did get some of the Bobcat game, actually, doing a kind of volunteer thing. It was cool, actually. Working sessions and got to keep the tip money. That was kind of swag. I'm looking into a job soon, so that'll be fun, too. And maybe getting some podcast money, so that'll be fun, too. We got a lot of avenues. But anyway, if I don't have a ton of money in my pocket, right? So it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch when that happens and because if I'm gonna get some money, this is a league to get some money. This is the one, and I've been on an eight game win streak up to this point, and then that streak unfortunately ended, so that sucks too. That's kind of the week, right? We're gonna look a little bit more at the NFL games. Kind of a weird thing going on right now. Basically, my dad is uploading some photos onto my phone when I'm in the office. That's where the podcast studio is. Check out at the Fantasy Avenue Podcast Instagram for the office tour that I had like a while ago. Anyway, my dad's office is in the same place, and he's uploading some photos from his computer to my phone right now. Some of my football photos, kind of swag. But anyway, I can't look at fantasy, can't look at the stats, can't really, rehash my mind right now. So, but I also can't really wait to film the podcast because I got to get home and then go eat some pizza and then go and, just accept my scholarly award for being a scholarly demon. It's that type of role. So anyway, we're just going to roll with this podcast. I'm going to talk about as much as I can talk about without my phone. And then as soon as my papa ends, then we'll get back into it. But, it was maybe you could hear my voice right now. Does it sound like a voice that had a picture frame incorrectly hung up inside it or something? Because it feels like it. It low-key does. Let's get right to the podcast. We're looking at some top ads for the week. I know my ads last week were Chuba Hubbard and Jerome Ford. And I had some other ads too. So we're going to look at the ads from last week just like we did last week on last week's podcast. We're going to kind of review. I think I had a couple other guys. DeAndre Hopkins, Sam Howell, looked at Trey McBride, looked at I want to say the Bucks. I want to say the Bucks defense. I mean, I'll say it flat out right now. Let me see if I can search because I could just look up stats. Is it still recording right now? It is still recording. So I actually have Safari pulled up. I can look at the Patriots schedule because I want to start out right away. Whoever the Patriots are playing, it's dead. Thursday night game this week against the Steelers. Oh boy, that's hard. Steelers defense. How are we feeling? I like Chris Boswell, the kicker. I like the Steelers defense, sorta. Yeah. The Patriots are just such a grim team that going out and getting defenses and kickers that kind of match with that schedule. Honestly, I don't mind the Broncos defense going against a struggling Chargers. So we're looking at the Patriots. We might look at Boswell. I would 100,000,000% point out Jalen Warren right now, except Austin Eckler, the Chargers running back last week, in the barn burner 6-0. That's kind of why I'm bringing this up. Oh, yeah. Life segment's over, Aaron. Some people I know talked about last time, they stop in, they just check it out, even though they're not really interested in the football world. They're interested in me talking, and that makes me really happy. But anyway, we're going to get to some football now. So don't leave unless you want to, but don't leave. We're gonna look at the okay. So what I was saying was before I went on a little tangent, and then we're gonna go look. I'm gonna look at the Giants right now. You guys see you can literally if you could watch me doing this podcast, you'd be able to watch my brain waves and how they're bouncing around in my head because my freaking head's all over the place. What I was saying was. I'm not so confident about Jalen Warren. I would say he's a must start this week. Unfortunately, Austin Eckler did not have a good game last week against the Patriots in that game, which is odd. But I'm going to say I like Jalen Warren this week. And if he's still available in your leagues, pick this guy up. He's the legit bell cow for a running team, a running football team. The Packers are playing the Giants. Jordan Love, big start. Big ad. He's been playing good the last couple weeks. That's a deep quarterback. That'll be my quarterback out of the week. Not only because he's playing the Giants, which I think boosts him into a top starting category, but just the fact that that he's been playing good anyway, and he's been playing a top 15, a quarterback that's good. And if you see him, if you need a quarterback this week and you wanted to add somebody, or if you're struggling with a couple mid quarterbacks, without a real starter, which I know some of us are, injuries happen, right? Kirk Cousins drafters, I know you're struggling with that. we all are. I am. He's definitely an ad for you, and I love to see that. So I'm just gonna look up the NFL week 13. That's what we were in, right? Yep. We're looking at the scores. This will kind of finish up my weekend wrap, and we're gonna kind of move into it as well. Well, so the Steelers struggled last week as well. Jalen Warren, it's gonna be a tough start, but I think you can do it. Whoever's playing the Jets, I love that. Seahawks, Jackson Njigba, not a big start for me. That game came out of nowhere, you know. The Njigba and DK Metcalf points was out of nowhere. But I'm looking at Geno Smith and I'm saying, I'm going to lap that up. I don't mind that at all, right? We're going to check out who the Jets and Falcons are playing, because those are two teams that low-key suck. The Bucs are playing the Falcons. I don't mind the Bucs defense again. And as I've said, hopefully you guys made those end-of-season trades, like with Rasheed White. Oh, God, I hope that's how you say it. Mason, don't quote me. Rasheed White? There you go. Because that's a big trade for y'all as you end the season. At this point, you can't really pick any of those guys up. Cade Otton, the Bucs tight end, do not pick him up. He got me a big old 0 bomb in a league that I still scored like 170-something because I'm a freaking god at fantasy football. I could have just not started a tight end and just been like, I felt good about my team, you know? I would have felt like, wow, I scored 150 or 168 and didn't even start my tight end. Now I feel like, ew, Cade Otton, you. So that's kind of the vibe over there. And the Jets are playing the Texans. Now this is interesting. Texans defense has been forcing some turnovers, but they've been, I don't know if they're less necessarily legit turnovers, okay? I'm not feeling real confident. We're going to have a lot of yap. I'm going to yap a lot, and then I'm going to get to the point, all right? We're going to have some yap, and this is some yap right here. Texans, meh. Obviously C.J. Stroud, he's a freaking beast. It's hard with what's his name? Tank Dell going out. That sucked. But Nico Collins, freaking Broncos defense made Nico Collins look like prime Jerry Rice. What the heck? I think he had like either 9 or 11 catches for 190 yards and a touchdown. What the Sean? So Nico Collins is a start. Nico Collins is 100% a start this week. So let's see, what do we got so far? We've Jordan Love at quarterback. I'm confident. These are pickups, right? Pickups, and if you can possibly get them starts. Not all these guys will be available, but I feel like guys like Nico Collins might be available. I like Jalen Warren. I like Jalen Warren quite a bit. I'm not sure if he's going to be an available running back. Not a lot of other running backs, as I was watching the games this weekend, really stuck out to me in terms of like, gosh dang it, we ball. That's the PJ version of it. I'm gonna come back to my running backs because I need to look at Jerome Ford and Chuba Hubbard once I get my phone back. We're gonna go to receivers. Nico Collins, Cortland Sutton again. Cortland Sutton's, come on, top 5 freaking contested catch receiver in the NFL, and that's not me being biased. He literally is, but you're not gonna be able to really pick him up. So Nico Collins is kind of a deep ad. That's gonna be tough though in a lot of leagues to find him. I want to still go back to Rashee Rice. He played really well on the Chiefs last night. He's kind of an ad that I'll maybe bring back up because he kind of had a down couple weeks. I think a couple of guys that picked him up in waivers when he did good have now dropped him again. So it's not a really big receivers week in terms of, it's hard at the end of the season. At this point in the end of the season, you got to take with the advice that you've been given by the likes of someone like me, because let's be real, I have the top fantasy podcast in the world in terms of information. Don't quote me on that, but we could say it's true. You're listening right now, and that's enough. So thank you. But anyway, at this point, you should be taking the advice you've already gotten, and you should have a strong bench that should be able to fill in. Not a lot of guys are going to pop off at the end of the season quite like this. Now, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, there are a couple guys that did. But it's not going to be like that every week. You're not going to really rely on that every week. Come on. Same with tight ends. The tight ends are Dalton Kincaid and Trey McBride. There are two guys that, there's really not a lot of available tight ends that you're going to be able to legit find all the time. Having a hard trouble thinking of the Cowboys tight end, but he's on there as well. Those are my 3 tight ends for the week in terms of ads. But, at this point, a lot of them are probably added, Jordan Love might be added. Sam Howell, talked about him a couple of weeks ago, might be added. You got to get on these quickly, or you're going to be suffering the consequences. So I hope that you guys God, that stutter was crazy. were and are able to take advantage of the advice that I've given up to this point, and we're gonna look at it, But so we're gonna have two receivers. Rashi Rice is probably my top one because I like him this week. He might be the Instagram post. We're gonna have to see about that. Jordan Love might be the Instagram post. I might just play into the hype. I mean, everybody plays into the hype, and you get sick of it on Instagram. All the sports pages are just posting the same stuff, but because it's easy, and because if you're the first sports page to post it, it makes total sense because there's a reason why everybody's posting it. It's legit. Like, this guy's balling. So I might have to do that. If you didn't see the Instagram post, I actually had a Taylor Swift themed Fantasy Avenue Instagram post at one point. I fully play the trends. I hope that my girl audience, as small or big as it is, I'm not really sure how to exactly know that, but I feel like I have a fair amount. I hope that they enjoyed that Taylor Swift post. I know, like, my mom, my friends' moms, the few of them that follow me did. Yeah, I have friends' moms who follow me. I'm kind of nice like that. Yeah, the Fantasy Avenue information spreads to everybody. Doesn't matter age, gender, or whether you've had a kid that is now friends with me. You can still enjoy the Fantasy Avenue Instagram content and the Fantasy Avenue podcast content. It's too easy. This is not a crazy comment. This is speaking straight facts. How many Fantasy Avenue not Fantasy Avenue podcasts, how many fantasy podcasts in general have moms who don't play fantasy listening to it? Because some of what I'm saying is generally interesting. Maybe not all of it. Maybe partly they're here because they know me through their son or daughter, like maybe that's why. But hey, something I'm saying is interesting, and that's enough for me. That makes me happy. Yeah, 49ers Eagles score. I'm looking at it right now, 42-19. Holy crap. Thanks for nothing, Terry McLaurin. I'm looking at the score of the Commanders game. Bro got me 0 points. What the hell? Terry McLaurin was supposed to be like Curtis Samuel's, like, number one. Like, Curtis Samuel's had an off season. Terry McLaurin has been consistent. And then you get me 0 in the Dynasty League that I'm already struggling in? Come on, dude. I'm telling you, it's a bad week for the Dynasty. It really was. So we're going to look. I don't know where my dad is. This is kind of bugging me because I got Jordan Love. I have Jalen Warren plus possibly other 2 running backs. We got Nico Collins and we got Rashi Rice. We got Trey McBride. Jake Ferguson is the Cowboys' name. So Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, and Jake Ferguson. Oh boy, that was biffed. If I'm not going to lie to you, that was biffed. I don't mind the Steelers' defense, and honestly, I don't mind the Texans' defense, and I don't mind the Broncos' defense. Those are my probably 3 top defenses for the week. Kickers, we're looking at teams who are going to go and spam bad defenses. These are kickers you pick up, You're not going to be finding Justin Tucker on the waiver wires. The freaking brings respect to kickers' names. I love that. But kickers, it kind of matches up with poor defenses as well. Teams that get a lot scored on them. Who are the Commanders? Are the Commanders even playing this week? The Commanders aren't even playing this week because I would be definitely pointing out whoever the Commanders are playing. They got a week 14 bye. Oh my God, that sounds illegal. That sounds so bad. Like Jesus, play 14 straight games without a bye. Everyone in the freaking league is at a bye except for you. Yeah, that's not necessarily fun, is it? Really? But kickers, you're gonna look at teams that are playing. You're looking at the teams that are playing against the Chargers, who are playing against the Patriots, who are playing against the Jets. Same teams as the defenses, right? Maybe throw in the Lions kicker. If you can find them, you'll go with kickers like the Cowboys kicker. But kickers are really a guy you go purely based on matchup. That's why most of the time, they're not teams with a crazy good defense and a crazy bad offense. So like you can be or opposite way around. So you can feel pretty confident starting a defense and a kicker that are on the same teams, and that's how I feel about it this week. So those are kind of my ads, and finally, we've got the running backs. We're going to finish it off with the running backs. This is supposed to be a short episode. It's already almost 20 minutes. 20 minutes of yap. Holy crap. If you don't know that term, you must be 80 years old, because how do you not know that term? Okay, I'll give you a definition. I know my 81-year-old grandpa. Good for you. You listen to my podcast. Papa, love you. I know he listens. Yap is a term for, like, when somebody just goes rambling. It's another word for rambling. This episode's had a lot of rambling, Similar to that one teacher in school that you love the class, you love the friends in the class, but you just can't stand how much the teacher's lips move. If you could just somehow, like blur it out to where it was how people on Charlie Brown talk, where they're like, meow, 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 the parents, you wish that you could do that and then turn the TV volume down on the teacher and just relax and close your eyes. I'm not going to say I have some teachers like that, but I've experienced. I'm going to say no comment about current teachers, right? But past teachers, it's been true. And so that's kind of why I feel at liberty to make that. I mean, everybody experiences that in life. I even know my 80-year-old grandpa, 70 years ago when he was in school, roughly, in that little townhouse where all they ate was grass. I know he experienced that too. I'm just gonna look it up. At this point, there's another little analogy, right? I don't edit. I just change topics extremely fast. I'm gonna look up Jerome Ford fantasy points. I'm giving up on my dad giving me my phone in time. It's freaking disappointing. We're gonna look at Jerome Ford 2023 fantasy football stats. Put up 11 against the Broncos when I thought he was playing good. The fourth game of 11 or more straight. He had 12, 11, 11. Oh, wow. Not only did he have 11, 11, 11, he had 11.9, 11.9, 11.9. Dude, that's kind of crazy. And then last week at 14, yes, Jerome Ford, still a big ad for me. I called it. Fantasy God over here. I knew it. I knew it was true. And finally, we're gonna look over at, who are we? Oh, Chuba Hubbard. That was it. I was thinking in my brain, sometimes my thoughts just cross, I try to think about 80 things at once, and the sentences literally overlap, and then it's like my brain is reading the sentence out loud, But because there's multiple sentences, I read like half of one sentence, and then like just start reading the other sentence midway through. So it's like that's basically what multitasking does to my brain. And that's what kind of happened there. But of course I called Jerome Ford, so he's an ad this week. We're gonna look up Chuba Hubbard fantasy points. I want to look at the NFL website because that's what I looked at the last time. I don't even why is it not there? We're just look up Chuba Hubbard fantasy. This is basically me signing off. I'm almost done. This is the last point before you guys can get on your day. I know that everybody's got a lot of important things to do, except play Fortnite because the new season's bum. Oh my gosh. Shout out all the bums who play Fortnite still because holy crap, season's dead. I'm just kidding. I haven't even played it yet, but it just doesn't look cool. I know you guys have important things, so we're about logged off. But I just want to say, don't tell me he went off. Don't tell me Chuba Hubbard dropped 22 freaking points. Oh my God, I'm so good at fantasy football. Yep, December 3rd. Yep, that was yesterday. Chuba Hubbard. I mean, what a call by me. I don't even think I started him. Maybe I started him in the Dynasty League. I think I did, actually. That was my only bright spot in the Dynasty League because I believe Raiders, Josh Jacobs was on bye, so I was going to start him anyway. God, man, I'm good at fantasy. Guys, take all the advice I've given, right? We got Jordan Love, we got Chuba, Jerome Ford, and Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren's kind of iffy, but hey, start him because I said so. We're going to have Nico Collins, and we're going to have Rashee Rice. Yep. We're going to have tight ends Jake Ferguson, Dalton Kincaid, and Trey McBride. We're going to have the defenses and kickers of the Texans, Steelers, and Broncos. There it is. Wow, the memory on top of it. I mean, what is not to like? I look at me and I see peak human. Not only do I have extreme fantasy football brain cells, right? Okay, the only thing I think that can get better about my humanness is my ability to say a sentence. I have peak fantasy football knowledge, and I have incredible memory. You don't ask for more in a person when they're born and when you want a baby than those two things. It's true. Everything else, the smarts, the physical appearance, the athleticism, those are all secondhand things to fantasy football knowledge and fantasy football memory, And at the bottom of the list is sentence structure. You don't need sentence structure. You kind of do, but you don't in this case. I have a podcast, and I don't even have good fantasy structure. It's incredible. I've given you all my list. I'm going to go grab my phone from my dad, go home, eat pizza, then go to the NHS thing. It's been good talking. Signing off. See you next week. I've been Mikey Andersen. This is Fantasy Avenue. I love you. Peace out.
Fall is all about cozy comforts, but when you're prioritizing your health, it's easy to feel like you're missing out. With Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your fall favorites because they're made with Hero Bread sliced bread loaves, tortillas, bagels, dinner rolls, and more. Try their all-new Hero Noodles with 12 grams of protein and just 80 calories. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. They've even got small batch drops of indulgent favorites like the popular Hero Croissant. And right now, now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at HERO.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.